Hi, this is Owen Thornton, and this is my vblog, which corresponds to my webblog at ontariocrafts.wordpress.com. I'm outside again, thought I'd give you a little bit of different perspective. But before we go any further, I would like to ask you to subscribe to my channel and to hit the like button because those kinds of activities actually give us more boost when it comes to people finding the blog and the vblog. So, I want to talk to you today a little bit about the tasting we did for 15 friends. So, including my wife and I, and the friends, that was 17 people. I want to outlay the planning procedure we did and tell you a little bit about the experience of the day once it took place. And I'm going to tell you one thing that we would not do again. Although we still think it's a good idea, we just couldn't quite figure out how to do it well. So, 17 people are going to be doing a tasting in my backyard. Don't ask me why I have 17 chairs that allows everybody to have a chance to sit down and do a tasting. But we did set them up right here basically. So where the camera is fairly close to where I was standing to do the tasting, and I had a table in front of me. But before we got to that stage and I had the chair set up and my friends sitting down waiting for the tasting to take place, these are some of the things that we did to be able to plan for that event. First off, we wanted to do Ontario wine. Makes sense, seeing as it's the word blog, and the word blog is called ontariocrafts.wordpress.com, that we're going to do a tasting for Ontario wine. So we did that tasting in mind with things that we could purchase from our local beer, wine, and spirits retailer here in Ontario. But we also did get a couple of individual bottles that were exclusive to the wineries themselves. So we went out shopping and we bought 2 bottles each, thinking that the average person gets an ounce to an ounce and a half per tasting. Now, of the 17 people that were going to be tasting that day, including myself and Carrie, 2 people were not going to be drinking, and we weren't sure if anybody coming was going to be a designated driver. So we didn't know how many people were actually going to be tasting specifically. The other thing that we did is that I did buy red solo cups for spit cups in case anybody wanted to taste and wanted to spit. And that's something that professional wine tasters actually do, is because they don't want to get drunk when they're tasting, is they do spit their wine. So on this day, we did 6 1.5 ounce tastings, so about 7.5 ounces of alcohol over the course of a 3 or 4 hour period. So that would be just slightly more than a glass. Most people would be okay to drive after that tasting experience over that amount of time. And afterwards, we did feed them dinner. So, I want to talk a little bit about preparing that in advance. I went to A&B Party Rental here in London, Ontario, and if you've got a party rental store nearby you, I recommend doing this. They are not expensive, and we got 6 glasses times 17 people. I included 17, even though I knew that not everybody was going to do a tasting, just in case somebody wanted to have it look in the glass, or in case we dropped one or if something hit the ground or something like that. So we had a little bit of extra glassware, and then I also got 24 rocks glasses because we were throwing a party afterwards and there were going to be other things to drink other than alcohol at the party. So that covered off of all of our glassware. We went out and then we got, yes, I know, disposable plates and disposable cutlery for that event. Not proud of that fact. We could have actually gone to the Amy Party Rental and got plates and cutlery as well for that. These places are great, by the way. If you actually do drop or break anything, all you have to do is put the pieces into a plastic bag and take them back, and the insurance that you pay for as a part of your experience of going there, the insurance covers off any kind of breakage and damage, and they also clean it all for you as well. So you don't have to worry about cleaning all the glassware yourself afterwards. So when I went to MB Party Rental, I told them I was doing a tasting and that I wanted tasting glasses. And they knew exactly what I was talking about, and they gave me small bowl-sized glasses with stems on them that were about this size, which were exactly identical to the glassware that I had purchased for my wine class for WSET 2. So I knew that everybody was going to get the right kind of glass. When you do a tasting like that, you want to have a glass with a bowl that you can swirl the wine so you can get that wine excited in that bowl without spilling it. And you want to have it tapered up towards the nose like this, so that when the person puts their nose in there, the fumes are coming up, the smells, the aromas are coming up through the glass and concentrating at the nose spot there so that people can get a really great smell of the wine. So that was one of the things we did in advance. Now, when we went to a place in Prince Edward County, my wife did a tasting there, and she received, as part of her tasting, 4 samples of food that would go with each of the 4 wines that she was doing a tasting with. And we really liked that idea. It was a really great idea. Taste the wine, taste it again, and then have a bit of food, and then taste the wine again, because food does change the nature of wine, and food goes with wine. Now, I have to admit, I am not the quintessential guy for pairing different foods with different wines. In fact, in some of these cases, I did not know about the wine myself, exactly what we were going to experience. So we were sort of guessing as to what would go with these wines. So we may have missed a little bit of those things. Some of the things we had were cheese and crackers, and so just we bought a lot of muffin cups. And so we put the ingredients in the muffin cup, stacked them up, and then brought them out and pulled the muffin cup and served each one to our friends as they were going around through the tasting. That was one thing we did. We did cheeses. We had some sliced kielbasa type meat that was one with one red wine. And we did a few other things. We did one with an almond for the Chardonnay, and we did a few things that needed a little bit of food prep. The thing we would do, or we would not do again, and I said I was going to talk about this at the end, but I'll talk about it now because it's pertinent. We wouldn't match the foods again with wine if we did another tasting. The reason being is that my wife was not out here with our friends experiencing the things because she was in the kitchen getting all those things ready all the time. And so she was not available to be out here and experience the day as well as she would have liked. And I get that for sure. It was a great idea. We thought it was a great idea, and ended up, I don't think that for us that it worked. It might have worked well for our friends. They had a chance to taste these things. Secondly, I think a couple of times perhaps we missed the foods with the wine because we ourselves had not tasted the wine and didn't know exactly what was going to go in it or with it. So that was something that we didn't like about the event. But that was really the only thing. So we had, I did a little a presentation about how to taste wine and what they were looking for, and I kind of tried to give them, I printed out some verbiage so that they could express themselves when they tasted the wine, so that they had some language that they could use when they were tasting it. I think overall it went very well. I think some people didn't want to share because they weren't sure what they were tasting, and they weren't sure they were getting the things out of it that we said that they ought to or could have gotten out of the taste that they were doing at the time. And that's okay because everybody's at a different level of going in and doing this kind of thing. Some people have more experience with tasting wine and they know what they're looking for a little bit more. And so I think those folks were able to chip in a little bit more and have a good conversation about each of the 6 wines that we had. So we did 3 whites and 3 reds, and I tried to do them according to sugar codes, and I did them also, so I did them mostly by sugar codes, which means that I could alternate whites and reds. One of the rules of thumb that you traditionally try to look for is white before red, dry before sweet. The problem with doing just dry before sweet and white before red combined is that you do all of the whites and you get to the end of the whites and that's the sweetest one, and then you start with the driest red. The problem is that the sweetness from the white will disturb the tasting of the dryness of the red and will prevent the individuals from being able to taste the red, the dry red, very well. It may take 2 or 3 sips to clear the palate. You may have to have a glass of water, and we could have done that with the rocks glasses that we had. We could have poured water for them as well. And but we didn't do that. We perhaps should have done that. The day went very well, as I said, and once we were done the tasting, we did sort of declare a winner, and there were 2 very close, and both of them were reds. The whites were all very light whites, and didn't have a lot of um, flavor profile qualities that would elevate them above just a good, quaffable, drinkable wine on a hot summer's day. And they were all certainly met up with that criteria. And then we had 2 beautiful reds at the end of the day that really excelled and really kind of set off the tone for the rest of the day. After we did the tasting, we gathered up all the glasses, we put them back in the big plastic containers that they came in, got them back in the car, ready to go, ready to take back the next day, and then we fed everybody a dinner by Costco, we like to call it, and made it very simple on ourselves so that we didn't have to spend a lot of time doing that. We had the area set up for dining ready to go so that we could transition easily over that. And what we did with the chairs that were sort of in a sort of stadium curved seating area, we just kind of rounded them around in a big circle so everybody could see everybody and we could have a meal together as a family of friends. That was the day that we looked forward to. As I said, we went to A&B Party Rental. We got the stemware. We got rocks glasses for the after party so that they could have whatever they wanted to bring for themselves to drink. We had some drinks provided as well. And we did that tasting with the food. And as I said, it was a good idea. Execution was difficult for Carrie as she was going through the day and not spending time out here listening to the conversation as she was doing her tasting inside while preparing all the snacks for the next possible tasting. So that's it for me here at Owen Thornton's vlog for OntarioCrafts.wordpress.com. I want you to have a terrific day, and we'll see you next time very soon. Bye for now.